This is it right here.
Combining a team of reporters, columnists, and commentators.
Don't you ever talk about me!
Are you serious?
Jack Ebling has brought thought-provoking discussion.
What are you doing?
That's a damn coaching mistake!
Opinion.
The customer is the one who decides when the future gets here.
Oh, no!
The ship is on fire!
You have to check the report.
Are you kidding me?
That game was fixed.
And overall infotainment.
I'll take Jim Harbaugh.
What has he done?
Crazy cootie coming at you.
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Thanks, big fella.
Don't you ever come back here again.
No arguments. Those are called ass tunes.
So buckle up.
You talking to me?
It's time for The Drive with Jack Ebling.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Great afternoon, Greater Lansing and beyond, and welcome to The Drive with Jack. It is the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob, on Monday afternoon. In studio today, 105 West Allegan. You can watch us on our YouTube channel. 75 degrees and mostly sunny here. A beautiful day for soccer, baseball, football, unless you happen to be the Detroit Tigers, and it might not be so beautiful. Tigers facing the Tampa Bay Rays, a team they swept down in St. Petersburg earlier this year, but Tigers struggling with a 5-game losing streak as we speak. Rob, I want to welcome in our first guest today. He is Jeff Hostler, coach of the MSU women's soccer team, coming off a terrific win yesterday in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Jeff, how are you?
Really good today, Jack. Thanks for having me on.
Did you happen to get a message, a call, or anything from President Kevin Guskowitz? We're calling yesterday's match the Guskowitz Cup.
He was so bummed that he couldn't go. He was at both of our two home games to start the season. He was there cheering us on, and this North Carolina game was obviously a very hot topic. He was very excited for us. He was so bummed that he could not go to this game. He even sent some friends from the area to it in Michigan State gear to help represent for us. So, yeah, a bunch of messages. Izzo even called me today to relay congrats, but also to just tell me how much President Guskowitz was raving about the win. They were together last night, so pretty cool.
Well, Tom loves wins over North Carolina, too. So anytime the Spartans beat the Tar Heels, that's just fine with Izzo.
Yeah, no doubt.
Wanted to talk to you about the magnitude of this match. Here we're talking about August 23rd. Have you had a bigger win over a team that was ranked, 7th/8 in the country? A road win like that at this point of the season?
Not this early. Maybe at Notre Dame in 2024. We went in there, I think, a top 10 team. We won on the road the season opener. Mm-hmm. We had a massive top 10 win at Penn State twice, in fact. Mm-hmm. But I think, to do it, of course, we show up in Chapel Hill on Saturday, and we're like, guys, this place is really busy right now. And of course, we didn't do our research when scheduling, but it was welcome weekend. So Chapel Hill was packed. The stadium was packed. There was over 3,000 before kickoff. And I think their attendance, they recorded about 4, which is large for a women's soccer game. So great energy, incredible environment, a highly touted team. North Carolina is certainly the standard in our sport. 23 national championships out of the 37 total national championships that there have been. So, elite as it comes in terms of programs. So I think right? All those things considered. Yeah, Mia Hamm, you go down the list, you can make an all-time team that would definitely take on anybody else's. Yeah. So, massive win.
You won't say this, but I can. Someone asked me why a school like North Carolina would start a week before. I used to get this a lot of times when Michigan State was on the quarter system. Why the other schools start so early? And I would always say, well, they're a little academically challenged. They need more time in the classroom. So I don't know that that's the case. Why North Carolina is starting early? It isn't to get ready for football season. I know that.
No comment.
Let's talk a little bit about the match itself and Kennedy Bell. Now, she was Big Ten Forward of the Year last season, right?
That's right.
And it doesn't look like she's had any kind of slippage. Here she has a brace. She has 2 goals yesterday, and that really proved to be the difference, right? Gave you the first 2 scores.
Yeah, I mean, her performance. We talked, her and I, one-on-one a little bit going into the game about how this is the type of moment that we need her to be at her best. When she plays with confidence, when she plays a little bit of swag, our team tends to follow and feel that and feed off of it.
Yeah.
And for her to get us going was incredible. This is a kid that's from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Right.
She, in fact, her original recruitment was verbally committed to North Carolina.
Oh.
I think as an 8th grader, a 14-year-old maybe, before eventually signing with Maryland and obviously transferring here. So to be able to go back home, to have a lot of family, a lot of friends in to see her play, maybe for the first or only time live, was really cool. And for her to, she balled out. She was incredible.
Yeah.
She had the brace that you mentioned, and kudos to you. Like, I see you're trying to pull in the soccer, snobbery
I'm trying.
crowd. You got the terms down and everything. So
it's a struggle. Well, we're working on it. Yeah.
But you're doing. That was good. That was great. So she, but yeah, it was massive for her, massive for us, and when she leads and plays that way, it opens up other things for everybody else.
So Charlotte, the distance to Chapel Hill is about how far, Jeff?
I don't know that exactly, but a short car ride.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, 90 minutes or less.
So she went to Maryland, not UNC, as you said. It's not like she had been a Tar Heel and then she was viewed as a traitor. But still, going against the regional team there and such a juggernaut historically, do you think people there were saying, oh, we're so happy for Kennedy, or, oh, I said Kennedy here?
Look, when she scored that first goal, that stadium got real quiet. Real quiet. And I think even more so in the second, because, we score that goal, we go into a hydration break.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like the next 23 minutes,
yeah.
It was all North Carolina. They equalized 2 minutes later. It was all them with territory. They were the dangerous team. They hit the post.
Right.
They had a bunch of set pieces, but we stepped up to the challenge and we survived it. We talked about how big games there's going to be some moments like that. And, for her to then come out in the second half and score early really settled that game down and gave us the momentum for that that first 25 minutes of the second half.
Looking at some of the statistics, and again, that doesn't tell the whole story, but in terms of corners and shot attempts, it seemed like North Carolina had chances. Was Noah Henning the big difference in this, or your defensive play making some of their shots ineffective?
Well, I think they got credit for a shot anytime the ball went over the end line. I feel like there was a little bit of that going on as I saw the final box score. It's a game that ends 3-2, so they scored twice. Noel made 3 saves.
Okay.
So I think the shots on goal were 5-4.
Yeah.
In the match, which I think is a much more telling statistic.
Yeah.
And I think the XG, like the expected goals in the game, were very similar to what the final scoreboard showed.
Okay.
So, Noel was great. I think Noel, this was one of her more complete games, particularly against a higher level opponent. She was we saw particular growth in her ability to deal with crosses and wide services and dealing with set pieces. I thought she was very, very good on the day.
Michigan State scored on a PK, and then North Carolina did to make it 3-2, right?
Yeah, ours was actually a free kick, so just outside the box.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a really big moment. We were up 2-1. Emerson Sargent got put in behind. She's on a breakaway. It got taken out from behind just outside the box, so nothing was given at all. by the referee, not even a foul. We actually challenged the call because that's new to college soccer, is that you get 2 challenges. So we used the challenge. They went to it and they reviewed it, awarded the foul, and because she was ahead of the last defender and the last defender took her down, it was what they call a denial of obvious goal scoring opportunity, a dog-so moment, which is an automatic red card. So they immediately go down a player now with 18 minutes left. And
great challenge.
That free kick, on that free kick, Bella scored. So to put us up 3-1. So that was definitely a massive moment in the match.
So we know that you don't do everything. You do have a staff and assistants who are very helpful to you. On that play in question, did you know immediately that was something you were going to challenge? Did you have someone saying to you in your ear, "Hey, we can win that challenge"?
Well, in live play, my staff and I all thought wholeheartedly it was a foul to begin with. That was one with 2 challenges left in less than 20 minutes in the match. As it turned out to be, it can be totally change the course of the game. So it was worth the risk, I think, either way.
Right.
As soon as we went to challenge, and I went to Gabe, on the computer, and Emily and on our iPads, both the broadcast view, we immediately this is 100% a foul. Yeah. So then you just hope that the referee has the courage to see it that way, because that's obviously anytime you eject someone, you give them a red card.
Right.
It's a massive decision.
And to have that kind of a reversal against the home team, maybe some officials would say, well, we'll just let that go.
Yes, I would think so. Yes, yes.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the closing minutes here. And when you're up a goal and you don't want to be in a total shell, but you're not going to take unnecessary chances, and you're going to try to protect the lead. What is the strategic decision there, and how do you implement that?
Yeah, so it can be challenging because you're right. You don't want to absorb so much pressure. Honestly, the PK that they won really came off nothing. They had a box entry with a player running away from goal, and she took a bad touch, and our defender turned around to clear it, and that player was trying to track down the ball and stuck her leg out in between her foot and the ball. So on the swing, she caught her. And, when you just absorb pressure that much, now you are leaving it in the referee's hands for decisions. And part of our issue was we weren't meeting, in my opinion, you have to meet players outside the box. You still have to get pressure final third in. You have to try and deny service into the box, deny box entries. But it's a fine line because your backs and your holding midfielders sometimes want to be in the box to defend going forward. But then you're giving up spaces that they can play. And against a good combo team like UNC that can play quick little tight passing combinations and slip someone in like they did in their first goal, it can be a delicate balance. And so I think those final minutes for us, showing our toughness in ball winning, when the ball would go out of bounds for goal kicks or Noel would collect it, we'd go up and in, being able to win balls early and take some territory that way and take some time becomes even more important.
So when you're up 3-2, Jeff, is that a great time to know that your opponent's had a red card and they're a player down, or doesn't it matter because at that point they're bringing the back line up and the defenders are acting as midfielders and midfielders as potential scorers?
Yeah, I think that's it, Jack. I think maybe what might be a more secure 2v1 at the back for them becomes a 1v1 situation, or a 3v2 becomes a 2v2. I think in hindsight, we probably looked to absorb too much pressure by moving one of our attacking midfielders into a defensive midfielder role. We went to a 5-back to try to get more pressure in wide spaces. I think we would have stayed maybe with one holding midfielder and 2 attacking, so we can keep, especially with Kennedy on the field. If you're not going to respect that, all we have to do is win one ball, and they're gone. Right. So I think in hindsight, maybe that would have been a little bit different of a tactical change. And you're talking statistically. I think they got probably credited for 5 or 6 of those shots in the last 10 minutes that really weren't threatening. And or just part of the game because you're okay with them taking bad shots or shots that are going to be blocked.
One more strategic question, Jeff, because I think a lot of people who aren't familiar with it think of basketball and makeup calls, right? Officials always deny that those exist, but we see them all the time. And when there's one close call that goes one way, or maybe a call official thinks maybe I blew that, chances are the next one is going to be reversed. When you had the opportunity, the free kick that you converted, did you know then that if there was a marginal or a borderline call, it was probably going to go North Carolina's way?
You have a feeling. You do. You have a feeling that it would. And, the penalty kick that was awarded for them, I thought was pretty soft. I had a challenge left, so I did challenge it. Mm-hmm. I think video review did confirm that she made contact with the North Carolina player. Yeah. I think it was the right call in the end. But, there was zero hesitation from the referee in that moment. And I think if that call that, we didn't have the call earlier, you probably, in your head, at least give it some thought, maybe as an official. Yeah. Because you're human nature, and that's going to be in the back of your mind. So I don't think necessarily, it was the right call both ways in the end, and I think it impacted the game the way that it should.
All right, I want to go back to Kennedy's second goal, and it was pretty. There were a lot of things were happening there, but what is it that makes her special? Is it her speed? Is it her footwork? Is it her ability to know what shot to execute, or just her ability to make the play?
I think it's all those things. She is an elite athlete. She's rapid. Her change of pace, change of direction is elite. She's a very smooth mover. Mm-hmm. From a physical context, she's stronger and tougher than you might think. At first glance. But she has an incredibly high soccer IQ. She's very coachable. Mm-hmm. She rarely makes the same mistake twice. Getting the goal, she's a very good ball striker. People just don't quite yet know it necessarily because so many of her goals come because of her athleticism and ability to take people on or get in behind. And then she is so quick to her first touch on her finish, or her final touch on her finish, where it doesn't take much of a leg drag back to generate the power she needs. So I think there's a deception piece to that the keepers aren't really getting fully set to be able to explode to it one direction or the other with how quick that she snaps, from the hip through the groin on her contact. And she's got a wide variety of ways she can beat you. She can dribble at you. She can spin you around. She can put the ball around you and use that speed to run by you. She's someone you want to get in close to not turn, but then she'll roll you. If you give her a little too much space, she's just going to, gain steam and then push it by you and go.
Well, her dad was an outstanding defensive back at Michigan State, as you know. And when you look at Kennedy, you say, well, I can kind of see 8 years of NFL experience in her lineage, right? You can kind of pick up on that.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah. There's no doubt. I think even her dad sent me a text on the broadcast. They even gave him a shout about one of Kennedy's first moves in the game. They were like, "Oh yeah, you could see, that's Myron on a pick six right there." Yeah. And those types of moments. So yeah, incredible. He had an incredible career here at Michigan State with the Steelers. Played in the Super Bowl. A Spartan dog, and pretty cool to have them have that relationship and that piece too. But as we told her when we recruited her, she is certainly making and creating her own legacy here as a Spartan.
And didn't her brother play football at North Carolina?
I believe there was a stint there, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. I want to talk about what's coming up now for your team, Unbeaten. And when is the next poll released?
The top drawer poll came out this morning.
Okay.
And then the United Soccer Coaches poll comes out tomorrow, Tuesday afternoons, like 2 o'clock, I think.
Okay. And what did the poll this morning say?
Had us at number 4.
4?
So that was up a few spots in that poll. I would anticipate we probably move up a couple spots in the United Soccer Coaches poll. which is all great to have recognition this time of year and create some buzz. But, as we talk about as a team all the time, the poll that defines you is the one at the end of the year.
Right. Well, I know you're not going to let your team, your players, get a big head. You're going to keep that under control. But for the fans, the crowd, those who might be interested in checking it out, when you have a team that's ranked fourth or maybe even third in the country, that catches a lot of people's interest.
Yeah, I hope so. Whether we're talking games at DeMartin or catching us on one of the apps or on national television, which we'll have 5 appearances this year, which is a credit to the program, and where we've elevated this to. And so, you talk about yesterday's game, not only are there 4,000 fans there, but it's on ESPN through the ACC network on linear TV. And I know viewership was way up, and the number of college coaches that sent messages after about, how entertaining of a game it was. And, that buzz is important for our sport, especially, before football season kicks off here, to get out. And the crowds early have been good at DeMartin. We're hoping this week we can really drive that big doubleheader on Thursday with Eastern Michigan coming to town for us at 5. The men play after. And then Sunday morning, man, we're at 11 a.m., we're also on the Big Ten Network, and we play Colorado, who will likely be another top 10 ranked opponent. So to be able to see that kind of non-conference early season game right here at DeMartin is incredibly rare. So we hope that we can get people out. We're going to need that crowd. It's a rematch of last year's Sweet 16 match.
Why 11 a.m., Jeff?
To make sure we're on the network.
Okay.
We ran into some issues with a later time slot with Colorado's travel. And so we want to make sure we can work that out with the network. It's a game that really, in my opinion, needs to be showcased, as a strong representation for our conference and our sport. And, if you have opportunities to get on, you got to do whatever you can to make sure that you can secure that.
Where are the Buffs?
So little breakfast footy.
There you go. Yeah, I like it. Where are the Buffs ranked? Is it a similar matchup to North Carolina, but at your place?
Yeah, there are 2 polls last week. I think they were 7-1 and 15 or something like that in the other.
Okay.
I would anticipate in whatever poll they were ranked, they weren't receiving as many votes. I would anticipate that goes up this week.
Okay.
With a number of teams that fell or had less than desirable results this week. And they're one of the clear favorites to win the Big 12 this year.
Yeah.
They have arguably the best player in college soccer up top as a forward for them. She was the leading goal scorer in the country last year, I think 20-plus goals. So real lethal. Her twin sister's a center back. They were both first-team All-Americans last year. So 2 major weapons that they bring into every game.
Is that additional motivation for Kennedy, knowing that the nation's leading goal scorer is coming to DeMartin?
It doesn't take much to motivate Kennedy, so I'm sure she'll be ready.
Do you like these doubleheader formats, right? You're playing at 5, as you said, and then the men after?
I think there's some value to it, to mix it up every now and then. I like standalone dates. You're in more of a prime time slot. The challenge can be for the first game, is people, if they have work conflicts, kids are back to school in terms of elementary schools and things, middle schools, which makes it challenging. Youth sports are back up and buzzing already now. So there's a little bit of schedule stuff that can be a conflict for the first one. But I think it can create also a pretty cool environment out at Old College Field in DeMartin, with different crowds and people coming for one, coming back for the other, staying for both, tailgating for, all those kind of things. So, and this year will be interesting too, with the addition of alcohol sales at DeMartin. What that all looks like.
Yeah. Soccer crowds can get a little rowdy, with or without, something, in their hands. So, it is.
Well, they're not called the Red Cedar Rowdies for nothing, Rob. Jack.
It is interesting, Jeff, that Thursday night is the start of high school football. And I talked to someone, I said, you're a big soccer guy. Are you going to go out and see the soccer doubleheader? And he said, no. I said, no, He said, no, I'm going to go out and see the women's match at 5, and then I'm going to go watch our high school team play. So it's the men that would lose out on that one.
Well, that seems to work out okay. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
There's something to know, the men, I know East Lansing High School has their football home opener Thursday, and it's Hall of Fame. And, DeWan Jones, East Lansing High School, incredible talent, incredible person and family, goes into the Hall of Fame on Thursday. And he obviously is a Michigan State men's soccer alumni with a lot of professional experience in the MLS and with the U.S. national team. So super cool moment and opportunity for him that I want to give a shout out.
Damon's team is also undefeated after a win yesterday, right?
Yeah, we just agreed that we'll to not drop a game the rest of the year.
I was going to ask if you had maybe a little lunch or ice cream or something on this of which one stays undefeated the longest.
I'd rather just go all in and have us both do it.
There you go. Yeah. Well,
I'm all for that.
Just keep going through the Big Ten and get a couple of championships, and you won't have to worry about that. Jeff,
then we can have ice cream.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to try to stop out there Thursday. We're on the air till 6, but I think I can get out there and see the end of the game and the celebration.
That'd be great. Love to see you out there.
Jeff Hostler, head coach of the MSU women's soccer team, and ranked number 4 in one poll, waiting for the other one after a 3-2 victory yesterday at North Carolina. We'll be right back. We're going to talk baseball with Gary Gillette, historian, author, writer, you name it. Be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Spring is here, and so is good news for lease customers.
You got that right, Jack. Pretty exciting news, both at Nissan and Chevy. We have a lease pull ahead starting right now. So if you're bored with your lease, too many miles, close to too many miles, you just want to get out because of a high payment, bring it in. We'll get you out of your lease and get you into something more exciting.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Are you passionate about college sports? Foster Swift Sports Talk is your go-to podcast dedicated to addressing the hottest topics in college athletics, including recruiting practices, NIL, the trade portal, collectives, and revenue generation.
Join us as we bring you insights from student athletes, college head coaches, administrators, and other industry leaders as they share their experiences in this rapidly changing arena.
Our mission is to share information and help educate student athletes, parents, coaches, and other stakeholders with the knowledge, resources, and strategies they need to make informed decisions and maximize each college athlete's potential for long-term success. Check out our latest episode. We're joined by Michigan State basketball players Andre Hudson and David Thomas to discuss their playing careers and also being parents to elite athletes. Like and subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook pages to watch all of our episodes, or you can give us a listen on any of your favorite podcasting platforms by simply searching Foster Swift Sports Talk. Until next time, I'm your host, Dave Russell.
Just minutes from Petoskey, Harbor Springs, and Mackinac City, golfers will find Northern Michigan's hidden gem on Maple River Road in Brutus, the Hidden River Golf and Casting Club and Travato Restaurant.
The course offers one of Northern Michigan's most memorable golf experiences, and Travato completes your day with exceptional dining. For tee times and dinner reservations, go to hiddenrivergolf.com.
That's hiddenrivergolf.com.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob. Rob, let's go right back to our guest line and welcome in Gary Gillette, baseball savant, writer, author, editor, baseball encyclopedia, researcher, sabermetrician, historian, you name it. Want to talk about the Tigers first. And these 5 horrific losses they have had, the 5 worst losses in late innings, Garrett. The odds of that happening the way it did, 1 in 4.25 million. Okay? I didn't run all of the permutations on this, but that's what it spits out. To think where the Tigers are in terms of run differential, in terms of some of the other things that they have done well, have you ever seen a team more decapitated by its own bullpen?
Not recently. I mean, I'm sure there have been teams that have had awful bullpens throughout history, but normally those teams aren't contenders. And, of course, one of the things that I want to say here is the Tigers aren't a very good team, but we're fooled by the fact that there's a third wild card.
Yeah.
Imagine if we were in the one wild card era.
Oh, yeah.
We wouldn't be talking about, they're only 2.5 games out. We would be saying they're 8 games under 500, actually. I know that they're now more than 2.5 out now, but we'd be saying they're 8 games under 500 or 6 games under 500. We wouldn't be saying they're only 2.5 games from the wild card. And so the wild card gives you this illusion that you're a competitive team, which you are by the 6th best team in the league gets in, and it's a mediocre league, and mediocre is being kind to the American League. I can't believe how well, I can't say that on radio, how poor they've played given their talent level.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But you can see why Major League Baseball wants this. If they didn't have that, think of how many teams right now would be just playing out the string. Even the Tigers, after this 1-5 road stand of 5 straight losses, stranger things have happened than them sneaking in as the third wild card.
Oh yeah, stranger things have happened, like 2024,
right,
where the Tigers made that famous charge at the end, and even last year is stranger than that. I mean, the Tigers collapsed last year, and their furious second half charge in 24 were things that literally, in one case, had never happened in baseball history. In another case, had happened once before. So, I mean, what we have here is a club with a lot of talent that's not playing up to its abilities, that's got crucial weaknesses. The one crucial weakness we're seeing now that's killing them is the bullpen. It's a bullpen of has-beens and never-weres.
Yeah.
You know, Kenley Jansen is one of the all-time great closers. He doesn't have it anymore, and they depended on him. And Kyle Finnegan was a closer a few years ago, a legit major league closer. He is not. And Tyler Holton is good, but he's not a major league closer. And Drew Anderson is the latest reclamation project along with Drew Summers. And they made a mistake in not investing in at least one really good relief pitcher who could be relied upon. You know, and the other thing is they just stuck too long with a bunch of guys who weren't hitting. I mean, how long are you going to stick with well, they had Wenzel Perez, Kerry Carpenter, Parker Meadows. I know they're not there, but Matt Vierling replaces Parker Meadows. He's not hitting. His charmed life as a super utility is over. Jahmai Jones, Zach McKinstry.
Jemai Jones is hitting up a storm, by the way, now in Boston. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Oh,
I
it's
did
unbelievable.
not see that.
Yeah, I'll get the numbers for you in a second. But pretty amazing stuff. And we saw Jake Rogers with one of the moments of the year with that walk-off home run for the White Sox and Chicago, his fourth team in a span of 21 days, and he has managed to get hits and strike out for every one of them.
Right, and Rogers will run into a pitch he can hit, a slider speed fastball or a hanging curve, hanging slider. That doesn't make him a good hitter. Now, Rogers, everyone loved him. I'm sure it must have hurt when they cut him.
Yeah.
But if they didn't have anyone in AAA, if they had Nieto there for AAA, and that's who you're going to bring up, it's one thing.
Yeah.
But Valencia is a revelation.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and in terms of center field, I know they didn't want to rush Max Clark, and I can't tell you if they brought up Max Clark 2 months earlier would have made a difference. Mm-hmm. But Jesus, it was painful seeing James Outman playing out there.
Yeah.
You know, and this is not a club that should be taking table scraps from good clubs.
Yeah.
This is a club that should be throwing off table scraps for other mediocre or bad clubs to pick up.
James Outman, appropriately named, but Jemai Jones is 11 for 22, so batting exactly 500 now in small sample size. We get it with the Red Sox, but got a message from two friends who are Sox fans and said, hey, by the way, thanks for Jemai Jones. So who knows? Maybe Tigers will be watching him deep into the playoffs.
Actually, according to Baseball Reference, so you must have looked at it yesterday, he's 13 for 25 now. He's batting .520.
Oh, that's even worse.
That just, and of course they desperately needed him in that lineup to give him some punch that they weren't getting out of Torkelson, et cetera.
Yeah, right. Well, when Hinch would put him in as a pinch hitter for the Tigers this year, I mean, you know, he couldn't come close to the ball. Sometimes a change of scenery or something makes a difference. Gary, I wanted to talk to you about general managers, and we know what Al Avila did or didn't do. But when you look at Scott Harris, I think there are three areas, that we can grade these guys. One of them is the draft and the farm system, and in some cases, you really shouldn't miss. If you have the pick they had for Max Clark, you should be able to hit on that one the vast majority of the time. But Kevin McGonigal, that was a great pick where he was taken, second round, right?
He was a late first round.
Late first round.
Competitive balance pick or one of the picks to get awarded.
Right?
Yeah.
That still counts as a first rounder. Okay. Yeah. So that's A. B is free agency and who you acquire. And C is how you handle your roster with trades, especially at the trade deadline. And if we give Scott Harris a B, B+, A-, whatever, for the draft, I don't think we can give him positive marks for free agency, Framber. And I don't know yet that we can say that the trades have produced anything that's certainly long range. Meanwhile, I watched A.J. Hinch yank Tarek Skubal out of games because, they didn't want him throwing too many pitches and didn't want him to see guys third time through the order. I know what that philosophy is. It doesn't seem like it matters to Dave Roberts. The last two games, Skubal has pitched 109 and 106 pitches. And with his 100th pitch, he threw the ball 100 miles an hour. So it doesn't seem like he's been weakened by that, and it doesn't seem to phase the Dodgers pitching him later into games.
Right. I don't know what the Dodgers are thinking. They could be thinking, well, if Skubal's going to give us his all because he's looking at a huge payday, and we may not be able to sign him. Maybe they're thinking they can't or they don't need to sign him, and let him go. On the other hand, let's flip the coin here. If A.J. Hinch let him go 109 pitches and 2 weeks later he's on the IL, whose butt would be, grass. And so I don't know. I mean, I think they could have let Skubal go longer. They have really not babied him, but they were really be conservative with him.
Yes.
He has many times not pitched on the fifth day.
Yeah.
They jigger their rotation that he doesn't pitch until the sixth day. I didn't look at it this year, but in the past, he's made more starts on long rest, that is anything to me more than 4 days of long rest, than he had made on typical rest, 4 days. Now, some of that is, of course, because of off days, but a lot of it is because they arrange the rotation to give him extra time off. And when you get results like that from him, you can't argue with that. But again, you wonder, are they not asking him to be the horse he is, and to pull them to the postseason? Because he wants to.
He does.
And I think he can.
He does. I'm glad that you said that, because I have heard since the day it happened that Tarik Skubal let the Tigers down by not going longer in that final game against Seattle. And I want the tape of that conversation with Skubal and Hinch, because Skubal would not blast A.J. Hinch. I know the kind of competitor he is, right? I've talked to him. I know how much his stuff burns inside him. And I know he wanted to stay in the game, but he's not going to refuse to give the manager the ball, those kinds of things. So he kind of went along with it, and I think he kind of took the hit for that. But people around him have said, hey, he wasn't begging to come out of that game. He wanted to pitch longer, and it wasn't his choice.
That seems to me a reasonable interpretation. He took the hit publicly. It's not clear to me that if AJ said, hey, I need you to go one more guy, get us out of this inning, whatever, that he wouldn't have said, I'm your guy, Skip. You can count on me.
Yeah. Remember the Mickey Lolich story in Game 7 in '68? I've heard this from a number of people, including Kaline, and then finally from Mickey himself. And there was no thought that he was really going to pitch Game 7 because he pitched Games 2 and 5. And then, Mayo gets this idea, like our best shot is really trying to get this guy to pitch, again, never thinking he'd pitch 3 complete games in the World Series to get 3 wins. But he said to him, can you go? And Mick said, sure, Skip, I can go out there and, thinking I'll give you 4 innings, 5 innings, whatever it is, right? And so he comes back into the dugout, and Mayo says, you good? He said, yeah, I'm fine. Go on back out there. And he just went out there, and then the last couple of innings, they didn't even talk about it. And he just, as soon as the last Tiger was retired, he started walking to the mound. So I think sometimes, I don't want to call it over-managing, but when you've got something special, okay, and I think Tarik Skubal can be special. He certainly was in the 2 Cy Young years. That's not the time to play it the way you would with everybody else. Some situations are just unique.
Right. Well, I mean, Skubal's pretty special this year. 2.91 ERA.
Yeah.
146 strikeouts, 121 innings, not only 94 hits. It's not the I'm on top of the world years that he's had, but it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
That I've read that Lolich count. I've heard him give it when he was on his book tour, too. It makes sense. Back then, pitchers didn't have to throw 100% every pitch.
Right. True.
The lineup, everybody in the line. First of all, you had a automatic out in the pitcher or a pinch hitter, but everybody in the lineup wasn't capable of taking the ball over the fence on any given pitch. So when you had a 3-run lead or even a 2-run lead, and the number 7 hitter is up, and there's nobody on base, you don't exactly throw batting practice fastballs over the heart of the plate. That's when you're up by 12 runs. But you don't throw 100%, and you save that extra for the 8th inning when there's 2 out and the bases are loaded and you got a 1-run lead and you reach back for that little extra mustard. Right. And this is something that today's pitchers don't do. They throw max effort on every pitch, which has the advantage of giving them extra velocity, but it also means they're flagged after 5 innings or 6 innings tops typically. Rarely will these guys go 7. And Lolich could do that. He could say, okay, my arm's tired, but in return for less velocity, my ball has more sink. Mm-hmm. I'm a sinker ball pitcher. Yeah. I have more sink, and I know how to spot it. And frankly, I have the rest of the off season to rest up after this game.
Right.
It's the last game of the year. It wasn't game 1 in the World Series, like that. And so it made sense. And even with a great team like the Cardinals, he could afford to choose when to give everything and when to pitch at 90%, which would be good enough. And with the Tigers defense, it was good enough. Yeah, I mean, the game has changed a lot. I don't like it because the parade of everyone knows, and this is one of the reasons Scott Harris hasn't traded or spent a lot of money on a relief pitcher. Everyone knows relief pitchers are fungible. They break down constantly. Mm-hmm. The guy who's your closer this year, next year, might be 20 games in the season beyond the IL or not pitching well. Mm-hmm. And the guy who last year was lighting him up in AAA, maybe your closer this year.
Yeah.
And I know that he doesn't want to overinvest and he wants to hoard his prospects. But as I said before on the show, now's the time to spend your prospect capital.
Right.
Now's the time to spend the capital. First of all, you had a lot of prospects. Now, they don't have as many now when they have McGonigal and
Clark
in the majors.
Right.
But they had other guys they could trade. And with Dylan Dingler, that some of their prospect capital was at catcher. With Dylan Dingler, they could afford to trade a catching prospect and then say, we'll replace that prospect in the draft, and Dingler will get us through the next 2 or 3 years till that prospect comes to fruition.
Right.
I mean, I think Harris, in the long run, has the right idea. We're going to have a competitive team every year, especially with the third wild card. Someone in the Indians front office told me they aim to win 85 to 87 games every year, because they know if they win that many, they're in contention for a wild card. Yeah. And if they overachieve that, they're in contention for the second or even the first wild card.
Right. And in this division, they're in contention for the championship.
Right. And by doing that, they don't have to go out and spend hundreds of millions of dollars on free agents, and they can develop from within. The problem with that is Detroit isn't Cleveland. First of all, Detroit doesn't have the record of success Cleveland has.
Yeah.
Since 2014, Tigers fans are hungry. And second of all, Harris hasn't proven yet that he can win, thereby getting the benefit of the doubt that if they didn't make some moves in the offseason, they're still on track to win 88 games. If they overachieve, they win 92 and they're in the second wild card.
Yeah.
He's not Dave Dombrowski, and I like that. I think he's very smart. But I think the concept of insurance, you need extra pitching, and of course everyone says you can't have enough pitching, but at some point you got to pay 3 times more than you want to get that extra insurance, and the Tigers really needed it in the bullpen. They had a good run of getting nobodies, and I'm not being unkind, but Alex Line was not a top prospect, nor was Jason Foley, was undrafted, and Will Vest was not these aren't top prospects. They had a good run getting, I'll say it again, nobodies, but I don't really mean it harshly, to be closers when they needed them. But that luck ran out this year, and the guy they got for insurance, Kenley Jansen, they bought a cheap policy. They should have bought a more expensive policy. I think Harris is a great general manager. Of course, he's not a general manager, president of baseball operations, but, the old phrase.
Sure.
I think Fetter is a genius. I think Ryan Garco is A1 in terms of player development. I think they've turned this club around, but being competitive at the way they've been competitive the last couple of years is only going to last so long before the fans abandon them. I mean, I went on M Live today, the Booth newspaper website.
Sure.
And they cover the whole state, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you look at the landing page on the sports section, the landing page of the sports section had nothing about the Tigers. at the time I looked at it. Now, it may have changed. Is that they had Red Wings news, they had lots of stuff on the Lions, they had high school football, they had, they had soccer, not one thing about the Tigers.
Wow.
And that says something about how they've lost the public eye, the attention.
Yeah.
And, there are diehard fans down at Comerica Park, and I know, and Tigers fans are incredibly loyal, but they can't keep doing this. They can't keep doing this. They have to win something, and winning something to me means you've got to go to the LCS and go to at least Game 6 of the LCS. If you lose in the LCS like the Mariners did last year, I don't think anyone's going to knock you, But if you don't go to the LCS, you made the playoffs, but when it counted, you couldn't do it.
Yeah, and you made the playoffs, and you didn't do anything that people could say, well, they're going for it. They're just kind of playing their hands conservatively. We talked about Dave Dombrowski, and it's everyone has a different mindset, a different nature. Mine is more of a gambling nature, right? But I look at what Dombrowski did, and hey, we had these discussions, Gare, about the Tigers and the Phillies early in the season. And you see Philadelphia now, 15 games, over 500. They fired Rob Thompson. I thought Rob Thompson was a pretty good manager, but it wasn't working. So they fire him, and now they light a fire. They make some moves, and suddenly Kyle Schwarber starts hitting a home run every game. And here they are now, 3 games behind the Braves, and I wouldn't be shocked if they won the National League East.
Right. After they fired Thompson, Mattingly, who was not known to be a great manager, he's had several stints, and, they just went on a tear.
Yeah.
And then they went in the dump for a while, and they started losing games, and now they're on a 2-week tear again, which has put them within sight of the Braves.
Yeah.
9-game
winning
streak. In essence, Harris is the anti-Dombrowski, where Dombrowski was almost always willing to overpay and trade every ounce of prospect capital he has.
Yep.
Harris is never willing to overpay and almost never will trade real prospect capital. He'll trade prospects, but not prospects who are really blue chippers. And there's a time for that, and the time was building up the club. But now the club has to compete. It has to compete on a level that Jack Ebling is going to devote time on his radio show in Lansing to the Tigers when he's got Spartans and Wolverines and Lions and all that other stuff to talk about, and high school football, right?
Yes. I'm going down Friday and Saturday, but frankly, I'm not going down to see the Tigers. I wanted to go down and see Scoopel, and I think I will do that Friday night. And then a bunch of people are coming in. I got friends coming in from L.A. for this, right? So it's going to be a big weekend down there. But if they were playing somebody else, they wouldn't see me the rest of the year unless suddenly they get in the playoffs. I wanted to talk to you very quickly about 3 other things that happened last week. And amazing to me. One of them was Milwaukee's 22-0 win. Not that they won by 22 runs. That's happened before. But that they scored 21 runs in the last 4 innings. If this game had been halted by rain after 5 innings, it would have been a 1-0 Brewers win. And then they're up 13-0 going into the top of the 9th, and all they do is put up another 9 spot. We don't have a mercy rule in baseball the way they do in high school football. And they just say, well, okay, we're going to have running clock, something like that. But you see this, and then the pitcher in this game, right? Starting pitcher goes out again and faces the Cubs and loses 19-2. He is the first pitcher to lose back-to-back games by 17 runs or more, and his team was beaten in those 2 games by a combined 39 runs.
Yeah, well, this comes from the mistaken allowance of position players pitching. One of the reasons that scores were so horrible is Leo Rivas, an infielder, finished up, and he gave up 9 runs in 1 inning. Now, 13-0 would still be bad, but, I'm really against position players pitching. Because, to me, if you have to send a position player out on the mound, we have 13-man rosters.
Yeah.
13-man rosters. When you have to send a position player on the mound, you should automatically refund 50% of the value of the tickets that you sold to that game.
Do you think managers should be able to wave the white flag like an intentional walk and just say, we're done?
No, they shouldn't. They should put a pitcher out there.
Yeah.
They have 13 roster slots.
Yeah.
And if it were that all their pitchers were healthy and injuries to pitchers were uncommon with those 13 roster slots, I say they know what they're doing. Yeah. But I remember, and I don't want to be an old fogey, but I remember when pitching staffs were 10 men.
Right.
You could actually get away with 9 men in the American League with the DH.
Yes.
10 men, and the number of injuries was a lot less.
Yeah.
Every year we have more injuries and more pitchers on the IL, and every year they make an excuse not to pitch his guys. You have to call up an extra guy for a doubleheader.
Right.
You have to let position players pitch. No, make the pitchers pitch. Teach them how to pitch. And if that means they cannot throw max effort, 100%, so they get that extra 2 miles an hour on the fastball on every pitch, I don't care. It is embarrassing to see position players lob balls in there like it's slow pitch softball or something like that.
You know who had the lowest ERA for the Tigers this season?
Who, Jake Rogers?
Jake Rogers, 0.00.
Yeah. But it's embarrassing. I mean, they should have to I'm fine. The commissioner should say, fine, you want to pitch a position player, that's fine. Refund half the fans' money.
Yeah.
Or refund all the money. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Right.
They get away with it. In the short term, they get away with it because nobody goes out and says, I want my money back. They don't stand there at the ticket window demanding their money back.
Right.
Maybe they get a couple of snotty posts on social media.
Yeah.
But in the long run, does that create a loyal fan base? I don't think so.
Last thing for you, Gare, and it started, I think, last Monday, maybe it was Sunday, with Pete Crow Armstrong homering on the first pitch that the Cubs saw, and then homering to end the game. So the first pitch and the last pitch that his team saw, he hit home runs, became just the second player in baseball history to do that. Vic Power, remember, an old first baseman for Kansas City and Cleveland?
Yeah, I remember.
Right, yeah. He had done it about 70 years ago. So this accomplishment, it isn't even dry yet, the ink, right? And yesterday or Saturday, right? Randy Arozarena comes out and does the same thing, but punctuates it by stealing a home run back. So not only did he homer on the first pitch for the Mariners and the last pitch of a walk-off win, he had made that possible by going 18 inches over the top of the fence and hauling in a home run. But two guys do it in 1 week, and it hadn't been done for 70 years.
Yeah, well, that's partly because how many home runs are being hit, and partly because of the fences the fences are geared in most parks to let outfielders make those kinds of plays.
Yeah.
You don't have the old, when we were growing up, the Astrodome with a 15-foot high wall or the yellow line on the wall.
Right.
And so, I mean, the game is geared for this. They know the fans like this.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is still a very odd coincidence. But in Pete Crow Armstrong, at least, you're looking at a superstar.
Yeah.
I was going to say superstar in the making, but he's actually a superstar already
now,
made.
Probably MVP, right?
Arozarena is just a good slugger, a good player.
Yeah.
So it's a difference between, I'd want to say Norm Cash, although Cash is a better player than Arozarena, or Al Kaline doing this, or Rocky Colavito doing this, or something like that.
Right, right. Well, it's interesting, too. We talk about the number of home runs, and the team that is last in baseball in home runs is also first in steals, first in sacrifices, I think third in the lowest chase rate, and really gets everything out of it, and just happens to be the Milwaukee Brewers, who have the best record in baseball. So there are lots of ways to get to the cheese, but the Brewers seem to have found theirs.
Right. Well, that is one of the encouraging signs about this era of max effort pitching, a parade of 95 to 100-mile-an-hour relief pitchers, anonymous pitchers, position players pitching anytime that the game gets out of hand, and hitters swinging from their heels because the league batting average has dropped so low, it's almost impossible to get a long sequence offense, single, stolen base, single kind of thing.
Yeah.
You swing for the fences. But one of the good things about that is we've seen teams like the Guardians and the Brewers and the Rays learn to win in other ways.
That's right.
And I really root for these teams. You know, the Dodgers are a great team like the Yankees.
Yeah.
You have to admire the Dodgers like people used to admire the Yankees. You can still hate them.
Right.
Still hate them for winning, but you have to admire how good they are. But really, to me, you have to admire the clubs that win without all that money. And I'm sure the Tigers are trying to do that. I'm sure Chris Ilitch would like the Tigers to be one of those clubs. But right now, the Tigers haven't demonstrated they're as smart as the Brewers or the Rays or the Guardians.
One more, and I promise I'll let you go. The Tigers are 13-25. 13-25, so just a little bit above 333 in their division. They're 12-6 against the 6 best teams in baseball. Now they get 3 against the Rays and 3 against the Dodgers. How many of those 6 does Detroit win?
Oh, I don't know. They'll win 2 or 3. I think the steam is going out of them.
Yeah.
On the other hand, they still have plenty of talent.
Yeah.
They still have starting pitchers who can shut down the opposing team, and they have guys who can hit the ball. You know, if they had hit earlier in the year like they started hitting since June, they'd be a lot better off. But they couldn't buy a run in May. They were woeful.
Yeah.
So,
Garrett, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate all your time. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, take care, Jack.
We will be right back, and you're going to hear a lot of Michigan State football, okay, for most of the next hour. You're going to hear from head coach Pat Fitzgerald talking about six captains at Michigan State. Just the second time that has happened. Happened in 1998. And you're going to hear about the reversal from the NCAA. They're capable of changing their mind. And the reinstatement of Rodney Bullard, who had been out there practicing. He had a legal case in process. The NCAA said, yeah, we were probably wrong in looking at it this way. And so he will be on the field. And he should be Michigan State's number 2 wideout. But we'll talk to Fitzgerald, Jordan Hall, one of the captains, as is Alessio Milivojevic, and the aforementioned Rodney Bullard, coming up on The Drive with Jack.
Just minutes from Petoskey, Harbor Springs, and Mackinac City, golfers will find Northern Michigan's hidden gem on Maple River Road in Brutus, the Hidden River Golf and Casting Club and Travato Restaurant.
The course offers one of Northern Michigan's most memorable golf experiences, and Travato completes your day with exceptional dining. For tee times and dinner reservations, go to hiddenrivergolf.com.
That's hiddenrivergolf.com.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Meadowar Jewelers. Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Spring is here, and so is good news for lease customers.
You got that right, Jack. Pretty exciting news, both at Nissan and Chevy. We have a lease pull ahead starting right now. So if you're bored with your lease, too many miles, close to too many miles, you just want to get out because of a high payment, bring it in. We'll get you out of your lease and get you into something more exciting.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Grap of Okemos. They're making friends.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob. Rob, we had a chance to listen to Pat Fitzgerald, and every Monday he says something that informs us and makes us laugh. And here's Fitz about 20 minutes today at his weekly press conference.
Just wanted to start by inviting everybody out to all of our fans out to meet the Spartans night. Here this Wednesday, it's going to be from 4 to 6 in Spartan Stadium. The event's free. It's a great time for the community, and have all of our little fans and big fans come out and interact with our guys and the team. So our team will be signing autographs, and there'll be activities around the concourses. So know it's going to be a great event, so look forward to meeting everybody in the greater Spartan Nation community here in the greater East Lansing area, and look forward to seeing everybody Wednesday between 4 and 6. Excited to announce our captains on offense, Alessio Milivojevic and Trent Fraley, two big guys that have had great camps. And then defensively, Jordan Hall, Kenny Soares, and Nakai Martinez, and then in the kick game is Reese Stankin. So fired up for those guys. We've got a ton. We have multiple guys beyond them that receive votes. I think that speaks to where the leadership is in this team. But this group, received the most votes. It was voted on by the team, and everybody was eligible to be elected a captain. So that's viewed upon as the highest honor you could have as a Spartan, and look forward to working with those guys as the core leadership of our football team, along with our Unity Council and, frankly, the rest of the team. Also have some exciting news to share with Rodney Bullard. Compliance notified us today that the NCAA has reconsidered the case, reviewed it, and approved it. So he is officially eligible for the 2026 season. So we're very thankful for all the hard work of our compliance office. Really happy for obviously Rodney and his family, and we're just happy that he gets the opportunity to play the game that he loves, and just very thankful for all those that were part of the process to make this happen. So really happy for Rodney. So with that, how about some questions, please?
What changed with the decision with Bullard's case?
I was on the field and I got told he's eligible.
Was that like today?
Yeah. I have no idea, but I'm ecstatic. So maybe they got this thing called common sense in Indy. I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm happy they did. So it's never too late when it's before the opener. So
how did he respond? And did you tell him that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could ask him that. I think we're going to make him available. Why don't you ask him that?
Okay.
I think that would be great for him to answer instead of me. I'd rather have him answer that. It's been a long road for him, so really happy for him and his family.
Are you aware of the legal steps he was taking to try and become eligible, and obviously the deadline to be on the roster?
Yeah, I was fully aware of it, and 100% supportive of him.
When you go through a situation like that, because we're seeing it in a lot of different places, like the difficulty from a coaching side of that to kind of prepare if the guy's going to be there as opposed to knowing he's going to be
really
there.
Good question. We felt from day one that this was a no-brainer, or we were asking for his 4th year. This wasn't like we're asking for his 7th. There are some of these people who are coming back from the NFL. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we're literally asking for him to get his 4th year of eligibility and to look at what happened to him as he matriculated to college. And it seemed like this should have been done from day one. It wasn't. We worked through the process. But I think from a macro perspective, I think you take all these on a case-by-case basis. And this one, for us, we just were shocked that we had to work this far down the road with it. But Rodney was steadfast that this is what he wanted to do. It's been very hard on him. It's been, in my opinion, something that's unfair to a student athlete to have to go through. But he was adamant that this is the opportunity he wanted, and the athletic administration, the university, President Guskowitz, everybody was fully supportive of supporting him. Going back to your question, we were all fully supportive of everything he needed to gain his eligibility. So we're thankful, we're happy, but most importantly, we're happy for him.
From a staff perspective, I know the first time he gets in the field, it'll probably have some emotions to it for him if you talk about how hard it was for him. But I wonder, as a staff, what your expectations are for him this season and sort of how he fits into the larger wide receiver room.
Yeah, everybody was pretty fired up for him on the practice field. We found out during warm-ups, so that was kind of cool. It was a cool moment. But, I think we haven't stopped. Like, we've operated like he was going to be eligible, so we expect his role to be quite large. We've kind of felt that way since day one, so nothing really changes with the ruling. We just know that he can now go play in a game. So we were going to stick with him all the way through, no matter what happened. If this was going to have to go into the season, we were willing to stick by his side and have his back.
With the 6 captains, I think, is that a large number for you usually, or is that about where you?
Yeah, we I've kind of done it a lot of different ways. The most important aspect of it is it's elected by the team. It's not a coach's decision. It's a player's decision. And this group, and there were more guys that received votes. I think there were like 5 on both sides of the ball, beyond the captains that were named. So that would be like 8 on defense and 7 on offense that received double-digit votes. So I think that just shows the depth and the breadth of the leadership on the team. And then Kenny Soares addressed the team this morning, kind of as we introduced the group for the first time, that it's just not that group. It's upon everybody, and everybody's in charge of leading the team by leading yourself first. So I think this group is really understanding kind of the direction we want to go, but really happy for this group. It just seemed like the right group, and so that's why I went to 6. Sometimes it's been 4, sometimes it's been 5. This may be my first time having 6, but it just was the right 6 guys, I would say, based on the vote.
Yeah, I know we're at a point where you don't like going back, but I wondered if you'd go back to the 2021 season.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
But the opener, when you had to face after Tucker kind of reset the roster, what did you maybe learn from that about what to say, what not to say, and kind of keeping some things hidden? Was there anything that you learned in the portal era from that moment?
You said 2021?
Yeah, you had told me at Media Day that year that, like, if it worked, there was going to be plagiarists. I think that was your actual quote. And we've kind of seen
I was right.
Yeah.
No, holy cow, that's a first. Tell my wife I was right at something. That's great. First, wow. I think, again, I don't know Coach's plan. Yeah. We just saw the team that he had, and obviously the acquisition of Kenneth Walker worked out pretty well. To say the least. It's a different time now than it was in 21, but, I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned just through how this process is just ever evolving and changing. I think that was a very talented team that Coach put together.
Do you remember Mark's first team? Because you had a year up on Mark in 06 when I think you guys played that year. Like, do you remember what the transition was like from getting Mark on board at Michigan State and how Michigan State kind of took flight in that first year?
Yeah, you just knew that it was going to be tough and physical because you study what he did at Cincinnati, right? And so that was kind of what we're having to do for the opener, frankly, right now, is you're looking at film from all over because you look at the coordinators, you look at the head coach, you're looking at the personnel. There's a lot that goes in to preparing for an opener, especially like this. But we've kind of got the same advantage, too, with having, a new head coach here, new head coach there. So, you do all the research, but then the ball goes in the air. And like anything in the opener, you have to plan to adjust, And so the first quarter break, you kind of go, okay, this is kind of what we thought, or wow, that's new, and how do we make those adjustments as immediate and as quickly as we can?
How far down your season do you advance scout in terms of like week 2, week 3, or do you let once the first games are played, do you let pretty much what's happening this season be what you scout with opponents?
Over the summer, yeah, you do summer studies of your opponents, absolutely. So we do the whole year.
But so even with not knowing what a lot of these teams could be with all the transfers and other things, it's still worth the summer scout.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And if not anything else, it's worth the exercise of the coordinators educating the young assistants, not the coaches, the assistants to the coaches. Kind of how we do our breakdown, what we want, how we call things of that nature. And, that group's typically a little bit transient. Now, most guys were new offensively, a little bit of carryover on defense this year, so the defense was a little bit further ahead, being able to get started on that. But for sure, I think those summer studies are great. Then open that up game week, and hey, based on what we saw in the summer, with their personnel, are they what we thought they were when we studied them? And if not, then you just adjust and you don't hit delete, but you just move on to the next part that you learned.
With that defense, we talk about Jordan Hall a lot, two-time captain. Now he's earned a lot of that credit. But I wonder, a guy like Deion Crawford and a guy like Caleb Wheatland, who are super experienced at different stops, what do they bring to the linebacker core, and how important is it to have experience?
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, it's huge. I mean, just when you looked at probably our portal class, it was production, right? I mean, that was a no-brainer how we did it. So those guys are really special. They're really good teammates. They play a lot of ball. We expect great things from them, to say the least. And there's obviously a large group of like them at other positions too that we're really counting on for this year's team.
For a Big Ten program, how important? It feels like historically the Big Ten's been a linebacker conference, especially on defense. I mean, you played at Northwestern, but I wonder what separates the guys who have it and can play in the Big Ten and be those sorts of difference makers from guys who can play it in a different conference.
Yeah, I think from a big picture standpoint, first and foremost, this conference plays defense. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty evident when you look back over the history of the conference. There's always been kind of an emphasis in I think a recruitment to playing really good defense. And then you look at, the position, linebacker, you've got to be able to do it all. You got to be able to wear the green dot and make the calls. You got to be able to go out and play in space against skill guys. You got to be able to fit against two backs, two tight ends, whatever the personnel may be, and then play the run, play the pass. And, thank goodness the game wasn't what it is today back in the 90s, because I wouldn't have been able to do it. I mean, I was like arm length to arm length. These guys are so athletic. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're more athletic, and the field hasn't changed size, and you know what I mean? So just to see how the windows are smaller and how much faster they are is just so impressive.
Pat, do coaches ever learn anything from Captain Votes? I know you have a pretty good feel for who's respected and who isn't, but 3 of these 6 have never been in Spartan Stadium.
Yeah, I think you learn a lot, not only through that exercise. I think you learn it through our Unity Council that got elected earlier in the offseason. I think you learn it through Jersey number 1. Absolutely, these things, Jack, are not just by happenstance. It's over time. I've definitely learned to hear the voice of the locker room. You've got to give them opportunities to lead. And then the best teams I've ever coached were all player-led and player-run. And so we had to go through this whole offseason basically to get to this point of teaching the guys, kind of what we do, how we do it, when we want it done, all those nuts and bolts, while they're building relationships. When I talked to the team about being in a storm, right, that, we're kind of through the storm now. And now we've really come together, and the brotherhood is really galvanized. And now now we got to go compete. I think you give yourself a chance to compete by doing what we've done, but now we're going to have to go out and compete and find out how we handle adversity, how we handle success, how we handle traveling, and all the things that go along with game day.
What's the rest of the week look like? I assume at some point you transition out and move into a game week.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Will
Yeah.
Break
Good question.
What else do you still want to get done? I guess. Before
Oh, we got a lot to get done. Yeah. So tomorrow we'll kind of transition to what would be air quote a Wednesday practice for game week. That we'll for the first time kind of start mixing in some things we anticipate seeing from our opponent, while still doing a lot of things fundamentally that we really feel strongly we need to improve on. We'll work then into our kind of way we practice on a Thursday, the following day, and then we'll do our mock game here this Thursday. That's kind of a scripted, kind of every situation that may happen within Spartan Stadium. And then Friday we'll do basically a special situations practice, OD and K. So like every little one-timer that's ever happened in the history of our staff. It's long. It's a long list of stuff that we just want to touch. Now we've been doing that throughout camp in situational football, but there's all right, what have we not gotten done, and then what do we want to really emphasize a little bit? We'll also have the Big Ten officials come in and do some rules education. I'm sure that'll be a fun conversation with Coach Woods. And then we'll do the education with the staff, with the players. I've always done that. And then Friday afternoon, I'll give the guys basically Friday afternoon, and then Saturday the whole program's off, and then we'll be that's kind of symbolic of the end, and then we're really into game week, and that'll start on Sunday. So Sunday for us will be a Monday of game week. I'm kind of a guy that operates game day is always Saturday, so bear with me a little bit as we learn how I kind of talk, because I expect to play in postseason, and you may play on a Thursday. It's really Saturday. Hopefully in the playoff you play on a Wednesday, right? The first round game or whatever they may be. So just working back in a game week structure. So this upcoming Sunday will be a Monday.
Okay. Going off, I guess, a little bit. Do you do your walkthroughs on Friday or Thursday? I know recently it usually always be day before, but I know some folks that.
Yeah, I don't buy into that Fast Friday crap that some of these coaches do. Okay. We're not a track team, we're a football team. So no, we practice. Sunday's off for us in our routine, and meaning that for the players they've got injury check and things of that nature. But we've got guys from all over the country. We've got 7 home games. I want our guys to be able to go to church if that's what they choose to do individually or with their families, have brunch with their families, enjoy a day off where they can unplug the matrix a little bit, get homework done, watch NFL Red Zone, and just relax and kind of recharge. We'll obviously grind as a staff. Sunday's a really busy day for us by design. Then Monday we kind of put the game to bed Monday morning, and we'll do corrections and kind of first snapshot. And then Tuesday's our work day. We'll be in full pads. Wednesday we'll be in shells. Thursday we'll be in like spiders and helmets. And then Fridays we'll walk through. Start a little later on Friday afternoons for home games, and then early, kind of a little bit of an early start, maybe mid-morning, because I'd like to be wheels up or out of town by noonish. Obviously depends on how far the trip is, and then anticipate traveling out Thursday night to UCLA. Is kind of where I see things as this goes along. Anybody want to know about like a random Tuesday in October too?
What are you serving on the meal?
Yeah, no, I have no. Yeah, well, it'll be tenderloin pregame meal, but just working through all those things. I try to be 6 months in advance at least. So wrapped up, just bye-week stuff, probably midweek last week, just getting everything tidied up on how I want to do recruiting, how I want to practice that week, and then everything's set all the way to Big Ten Championship week, and then we'll have plans for each bowl game that I'll put together, and first run of playoff, all that stuff we've got to have all ready to go. So it's kind of how I roll, and then when the guys are done, we get a little break, and end of the season they'll get a calendar for the rest of the summer, like between then and all the way through report day.
When you said
long answer.
That's a long time from now.
No, it's a long answer, but that's my role, right? Like I think the more organized and the more structured I am, and working with Alex Nisley on our staff, who's our director of football operations, and Jacob Schmidt, our chief of staff, like we're always trying to think about the end in mind and then work our way backwards as we prepare the team for everything that we do.
Did you miss that planning phase?
How so?
Just when you were out of it, did you miss? Because it seems like that's something you enjoy, is kind of that advanced planning. And
yeah, I just think organizational structure. I mean, I was an organizational studies major at Northwestern, whatever that means. That degree's no longer available, so I can put them together A to Z, 1 to 3, whatever you want, but very organized. No, I just think you rise and fall to it. I think as the head coach, blocking and tackling, throwing and catching, leadership, motivation, recruiting, the list goes on and on and on and on. But I think for the organization to run, it's got to be really, really well organized and really well structured. So that way, when I do have to make some little turns of the dial, we already know the roadmap of how we want to go. And a little turn is just a little turn for a reason. There's a reason behind what we're doing. There's nothing left to chance.
So when you said tenderloin for the meal, is that like that's the real meal you guys are doing, or is that a tradition, or what's?
Yeah, no, I think I don't know how far it goes back. It's the same. It's basically the same meal I had as a player. So yeah, it's pretty good. I don't eat all day Friday. I enjoy a pregame meal, probably too much.
You have time for a couple more?
Christmas shopping? I have a wonderful wife named Stacy. She does a phenomenal job. What a couple more?
Your social media, it seems to be hitting with the fans. Do you have any input on that, or do you see it when we see it?
We've got an unbelievable team that really does a great job from a standpoint of creative. I think they're the best in the country. They've got carte blanche. They have full access. So, I have nothing to hide. I'm sorry for you guys, but we have our own team. And they're around at everything we do, wherever we go. Cameras are on. There's nothing to hide. I learned that a number of years ago. I think if you operate that way, when you end up start having success, and all of a sudden this room goes from you amazing folks to 5 more rows, like I lived when we went to the Rose Bowl in the mid-'90s, it became a big distraction for the players. It really did. We had to really hone in. We didn't understand how to handle success. I want our guys to understand that I expect and believe, and that's where we're going to go. We're going to be successful. So I want that type of environment around them, so when we do have it, they're not surprised.
But you don't give them themes or anything like that? They come up with what they want?
I'm not that creative. No, I play linebacker. Yeah, no, I'm not an art major or a creative designer.
Well, Trent Fraley, when did you start to see that you kind of have this ability to have this kind of traction with this team?
Yeah. I think when he came into the program, you don't give out the Remington Award, right? And so I think there was an automatic high level of respect from his teammates when he arrived. And then the way he's worked since day one. Like this guy, you know, you guys met him face to face, those pads. I mean, he is like, you look up O-lineman in the dictionary, it's him. You know, he looks exactly, he's got a big ass neck and, you know, he's a big old burly offensive lineman and he just exudes it. And, you know, his dad, obviously, great player, great coach. It's just in their blood and in their DNA as a family. And that's just kind of how he rolls. I mean, there's not a lot of nonsense with him. He's kind of right down the middle. He likes moving people against their will. I like people that like moving people against their will. So we share a very common value. And he really enjoys the hell out of it. And he's been a lot of fun to coach. And he just plays ball. There's like not a lot of stuff around it. Just what's the call? He makes all the calls, gets us lined up. Very, very dedicated to his craft.
A lot of new pieces on that offensive line, but a lot of veterans. It's hard to say if a group's on schedule or not, but how's that thing coming together?
Well, we've got a midterm coming up in about 11 days, so we'll see how they handle that. To this point, though, no question that they've gelled. You know, I think Nick Tabaka, Colin Johnson, you know, have done a really, really good job. Matt Allen was a huge addition. You know, we've allocated a lot of resources to the O-line from a coaching standpoint, again, by design. But Nick Tabak has done a great job leading that room, and who we brought in and exactly the guys we went to go get, that was priority number one. And as you can see, it was starts, it was production, it was guys that have been in the arena. And then, you know, to add it with, you know, Connor and Rakeem that we thought were very talented players, very athletic. And then the young group I really like our young group of O-linemen. I just think the future is very bright with those guys. We've just got to develop them like you know what in the weight room and then just coach the crap out of them. But I really like the way that group's coming together.
With how quickly you had to put the recruiting class together, early signing day and everything, probably not as much time to watch film or face-to-face time. As we, you know, spring ball and everything, has there been any freshmen in this class who have been, I guess, a pleasant surprise to you on or off the field?
Yeah. I mean, I think the class as a whole, you know, we had 15 of those guys early enroll, and I just to see their maturity and how well they did academically, I'm really proud of those guys. You know, they've all gotten exponentially stronger. They've all learned the system. And then they did a really good job as the rest of the class, the guys that, you know, stayed that were on scholarship through their senior year, and then our guys that walked down in their class, they've done a good job leading it. You know, I like the group as a whole. I'm not ready to anoint anybody at a press conference from a standpoint that they're ready to rock and roll, but I would say as a class, so far things have gone really smoothly for them.
Okay, the last one with Connor here. Organizational studies. What was your favorite class you took?
Yeah, Don Prentice, my great friend and God rest his soul, great professor that I had multiple times. And then he ended up being, his real job was a CEO consultant. So I worked very closely with him as a young head coach. I'm so mad at myself that I forget the name of the class. That's how big of an impact that had on me. But we did all kinds of fun stuff. It was like basically a leadership class and learning more about yourself than you were learning about business. And I thought he really challenged me as a leader, as a young head coach, and he was really special. And then Mark Whitty did some econ classes. I think he's now still the dean of the econ department, the department chair, and was a good friend and really challenged me hard. But I wasn't Phi Beta Kappa. I'll just put it through. I was Phi Beta B Gap. So
Phi Beta B Gap. I love that. That is the way Pat Fitzgerald looks at the world. Michigan State's 6 captains, 6, matching the total they had in 1998. We're talking about quarterback Alessio Milivojevic, center Trent Fraley, a Remington Award winner for FCS last year. Jordan Hall, of course, returning captain and linebacker. You're going to have Nakai Martinez back at safety. And Kenny Soares, another transfer, but he's the one who got the number 1 jersey and the vote of his teammates, and punter Reese Dakin. So 2 offensive players, 3 defenders, and a specialist. We'll be right back. You're going to hear from Alessio, from Jordan, and from Rodney Bullard, a very happy guy today, in just a couple moments on The Drive with Jack.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Just minutes from Petoskey, Harbor Springs, and Mackinac City, golfers will find Northern Michigan's hidden gem on Maple River Road in Brutus, the Hidden River Golf and Casting Club and Travato Restaurant.
The course offers one of Northern Michigan's most memorable golf experiences, and Travato completes your day with exceptional dining. For tee times and dinner reservations, go to hiddenrivergolf.com.
That's hiddenrivergolf.com.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graf of Okemos. Spring is here, and so is good news for lease customers.
You got that right, Jack. Pretty exciting news, both at Nissan and Chevy. We have a lease pull ahead starting right now. So if you're bored with your lease, too many miles, close to too many miles, you just want to get out because of a high payment, bring it in. We'll get you out of your lease and get you into something more exciting.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graf of Okemos. They're making friends.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob. We hope that you are watching on YouTube, The Drive with Jack, the channel that you can access. And if you subscribe, you'll know whenever we are here in studio. And you can watch us. We have some exciting news coming about some appearances out in the community. We'll get to that later in the week. We want you to hear from 3 Michigan State players today following Pat Fitzgerald. And we want to start with linebacker and return captain Jordan Hall.
No, it's always an honor and a privilege to represent such a great group of men. I'm glad that my teammates view me in that way to allow me to lead them.
6 captains. How do you have you? I'm sure you probably haven't had that conversation, but how do you make 6 captains one unified voice?
Yeah, well, I mean, we already have our unity council that we've been communicating with since January, and every single one of those guys who got picked to be captain are in that group. So, and we do it with 12 guys, where we meet weekly with Fitz and discuss different things. So I don't see it really playing out much differently than it has been. We kind of just have been given that title, a title that we're grateful for. But one of the first things that was addressed was everybody's a leader. We've just been given that title for the team, but anybody in the team still has that authority. If that is calling somebody up or holding somebody accountable, everybody has that authority to be a leader on the team.
You voted for all 6 of those guys, right? All 6 were.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Besides myself.
Yeah.
Besides myself.
What does it mean that 3 of the 6 have never been in Spartan Stadium for a game?
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be a new experience for them, but I think it just speaks a lot to those guys who were voted without playing a snap in here. They've come in January and worked their tails off to lead the best that they can be and be the best teammate that they can be. So obviously, there's some extra things that go into it if you've played here for a little bit, like myself. But for those guys, I can't imagine, how they're feeling of not, basically without even playing the snap here and being the leader that they are.
Last week before you actually transition into game week, I guess where do you feel like you guys are at and the biggest steps maybe you've taken and what you need to do still?
Yeah, I think we're harping and continuing on finishing. Every day before practice, we have the fourth quarter that we do with Fitz, which is all about finishing. That's something that I think I've almost talked about in every interview. Is just about how we finish, and that's always going to be something that we're going to improve on. Just continuing to grow as the practice go along. We want to continue to grow as the season comes along, and so that's just going to be our motivation each week from here on out. Is how good can we get? How much better can we get from week to week?
Fitzgerald was telling us that he told you guys at practice about Robbie getting his eligibility.
Yeah.
What was your reaction? What was sort of the team's reaction, and what does that mean for you guys?
Yeah, we found out pre-practice stretch, and we all just started jumping around, shouting. I didn't know the exact details in it, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't played as much as some of the other guys on the team, respectfully. But we were ecstatic for him to kind of get that whole situation panned out and have a weight lifted off of his shoulders. So happy for him.
All right, real quick, we have Nakai over there and Reese over here, fellow captains as well.
Fitz talked about the experience in a bunch of positions. They were looking for guys with reps, with experience. And I wonder with in particular, a guy like Dion and a guy like Caleb who both played a lot, how does that help you and I guess other linebackers in the group to have dudes you can lean on to know what they have experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Way to put it.
Yeah. No, it's it's a different beast out there. That's why you don't see a lot of true freshmen playing because they don't have that in-game experience of being in the fog of war. And so it eases my tension, I guess, of knowing that I have some guys out there that I can trust in Wheat and Dion who have had game experience, but not to shadow guys like Brady and Damari and Cam. He's coming from a little bit of a smaller school in Albany. But guys who maybe haven't had a ton of playing time, I have the utmost trust in the group of linebackers that we have and trust, when I'm on the field with whoever it is, that they'll do their job and motivate me to do mine.
How does the voting for captains work? Do you just get one vote, or do you guys get top 3?
Yeah, I think you were allowed to have 5 votes per person. So you just couldn't overload one. I can do 4 offense and 1 defense or something like that. So yeah.
And for you, I feel like people have always talked about your leadership since you really got here. Where did that start at a young age of wanting to be a leader?
Yeah, my dad, he served 22 years in the Navy, retired. So probably a few discipline moments from him. But my mom, she did an amazing job raising me into the man that I am. And then I have mentors in my life like my uncle who kind of stepped up and showed me how to be a leader on the football field and just kind of developed and grown over time.
How did he do that? Do you know any specific story you could share with us?
Yeah, I guess. Well, my dad, I'll go with my dad and then my uncle. But just his background in the Navy and just his discipline. Food, all the food on the table had to be eaten before you went to bed. Bed had to be made in the morning before you left the house. Because before you can lead anybody else, you have to lead yourself. And then with my uncle, his disciplines on the field where, if I got in trouble at school, if he heard about me doing something I wasn't supposed to do at home, he'd sit me for the first quarter. Or at least he tried to. He did one game, and then he threw me in the game, and I got to pick my first play, and I don't think he did that ever again. But both of those men in my life have been pivotal points in my life, pivotal men in my life for kind of sculpting me into being the man that I am.
The part you said about leading yourself before you lead others, I wonder what that's looked like for you the past 6 or 8 months since last January. Yeah, really just diving deeper into my faith and surrendering before Jesus and continuing to allow that growth of change in my life so that I can be poured into through the Word and through other people pouring into me. So that I can lead, and so that I can be led, and so that I can lead other people.
Jordan, one of the things Fitzgerald was telling us is he doesn't do traditional scrimmages where it's like a full day, 100 plays or whatever. He said he kind of like break it up over the week. As a veteran dude, what do you think of that? How's that work? Are you any better or differently?
Well, I guess I won't know how it prepares me until week one, but my body feels great. This has probably been the best camp that I've been a part of, where we haven't had a ton of injuries, and if they are, they're little nicks here and there, nothing too serious. So I think a lot of guys would agree, this is one of the best camps I've been a part of, where, my body doesn't feel all banged up. I feel healthy and prepared and ready to go health-wise going into week one. That's always something in the back of my mind of, being an older guy, maybe not having as many reps of will I be prepared? But I think with the staff that we have and the structure of the practice, I'll be more than prepared to go out on week one and play the best football that I can.
When you're in it, are you sort of seeing the point, I guess, of why they do it that way, where it's short bursts of move the ball, I think he calls it, or whatever?
Yeah.
What's that like as opposed to spending a whole Saturday out there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Not saying that you're saying that he's not, but Fitz is a very smart guy and a good coach. Yeah. So everything that we do is deliberate and it has a purpose. I can't say that I know the exact, full purpose of why it is the way it is, but I know I'm not complaining. And I trust Coach Fitz and our staff to make sure that we're in the best position possible leading into week one.
You've been a part of a lot of different staff training camps. Now, what stands out to you about this group? Anything?
Yeah, I guess, like I said, kind of just how deliberate it is and how everything is thought out. And again, not to, I don't like to get into the game of comparison. I know I've said that before. But, how this camp has been for me has been very intentional in the things that we do and why we're doing the things that we do and when we're doing them. And Coach Fitz has done a great job of kind of scheduling those things out and even with the Unity Council and letting us be prepared about what those things are. That's something that's just been sticking out to me.
That is Jordan Hall, outstanding linebacker and probably Michigan State's best player, Rob. But I think if you look at what Hall and Alessio Milivojevic can bring to this team off the field, I said before that you would want Jordan Hall to marry your daughter. Alessio might be in that club as well. And I would guess you'd have to go back to 2015 to find captains who had that kind of an impact at Michigan State with the Jack Allen, Darian Harris group. Or maybe before that, you'd have to go all the way back, maybe 2009-10 era. Me talking about Kirk Cousins and Greg Jones. Here is Alessio Milivojevic talking about where the team is, the captain selection, and his number 2 target, Rodney Bullard.
I think it's the highest honor possibly that you have as a teammate because it's obviously voted by the players. So it's just grateful that my teammates look at me that way and happy that I can make an impact. But one thing Kenny said when we went up here and were announced as captain, he says it still takes everyone. It's not just these 6 people up here. It still takes everyone on the whole team.
Any surprises to you when you saw the group that was picked?
No, to be honest, I think all those dudes have done a great job leading, not only vocally but also by example. They've done a great job on the field, off the field. So I think I was pretty. I thought those were a great group of guys.
Who did you vote for?
I voted for. I'm trying to think. To be honest, I think it was. I'll keep it undisclosed for now. But my 4 votes were up on. They were standing up here.
Okay.
Yeah, they were standing up here.
What does it take to be a captain, though? For obviously your quarterback used to be a leader, but to take that the next step and be one of those 6 guys.
Yeah, I think it's just one word I use is consistency. Consistency, just being the same guy every day, being that leader, being the same guy every day is something that teammates look for and want to be around.
How much do you try to make it your voice, and how important is it to have Coach Fitz's voice for you guys too?
I think both are important. I think one thing we say is, coach taught, player led. So the coaches want to lay that outline, lay that foundation, allow us to gain the confidence to then speak out and direct the teammate in the right way.
When was your new? I mean, how big is it to get Rodney officially cleared? Obviously, somebody imagine you've spent a good amount of time throwing the ball.
Oh yeah, I mean it's awesome. I mean, you know, Rod is an amazing player. He's made a lot of great plays throughout spring, throughout fall, and in the summer. So it's awesome to see a guy who's really worked. He's worked so hard throughout the year without even knowing if he was certainly going to play. So it's just awesome to see. I'm proud of him, happy for him, and excited to play with him this year. Big, a huge difference. Huge difference. He's a difference maker.
Could you see the emotion when he found out what it was all about, and the way the team responded to it?
Yeah, I mean he was smiling ear to ear. I kind of knew before it was even announced. I knew what had just happened. So. Just to see, them tell him that he was eligible, and then the whole team kind of went crazy. You got guys coming over there, pushing him around, smacking his head. So it was just a cool moment. I'm just happy for him.
Aside from the team not having him, if it had worked the other way, do you imagine how devastating that would have been after all the work he put in?
Yeah, it would have been tough for sure. Like I said, he's one of the hardest working dudes I know. He comes in every day. He's the same guy every day. He works his butt off, and it would have been tough to not be able to play with him. But I'm very happy it worked out in the right way.
You have a few more of those passes in Minnesota to throw to him?
Oh yeah. There's a ton more coming to Mr. Bullard, so I'm excited for it.
Where do you feel like you guys are at as a team last week fall camp, really, and as you transition to game week?
Yeah, I feel great. I think the work we put in these last 3 weeks or so in fall camp has been awesome. I think guys came in, they worked their butts off every single day. We built camaraderie. So I think it's just starting to refine those tiny details, but then getting into game prep is exactly where we're at right now.
Trent Fraley, I guess, what have you seen from him relationship-wise, everything?
Yeah, he's been awesome. Trent's an amazing guy off the field, but even better on the field. He works his butt off every day, kind of like all the other 5 captains that were voted with him. So, I mean, just his leadership within that room has been something that stood out to me. He really commands the huddle because obviously the quarterback's not in there right away. He's got to command that huddle, get them all set, but then commanding his line, calling out the point and stuff like that. So he's done a great job doing that.
Quarterback and offensive line, so there's a bit of a rapport there. Is it a little bit different when it's the center? Is it a step up compared to?
For sure. Yeah. For sure, yeah. I think obviously you want to have a whole great relationship with the entire line. Do things with them off the field. Make sure you have that relationship where you can talk back and forth, even if it's negative, positive. But I think it does take a smaller next step with the center because you're having constant communication with him. You're taking the snap from him after practice. You're doing snaps after practice with him. So I think just having that relationship with Trent has been huge for us as a team and as an offense.
What makes, I guess, the center's perspective unique? You kind of have a similar view. I guess he's a little bit lower, but what makes his perspective on the line a little bit different than anyone else's?
Yeah, I mean he's kind of like the quarterback of the O-line. Like I said, he's pointing things out. He's seeing rotation as well, stuff like that. So he's got to have big vision on the play, and he's like I said, he's done a great job with it.
As a guy that sat in on the portal visits for basically everyone, what did you see from Kenny, from Trent, from Reese that really stood out for the leadership that made you confident that, and lead into this captainship? Did you see that right away?
Yeah, for sure. I think, to be honest, those 3 guys, they came in and you could tell they asserted themselves as leaders. They knew what they were doing. They had experience playing big time games at other programs, so you can kind of tell right away those 3 guys were going to be difference makers. And as the year has gone on, they've just stepped their game up even more.
That is Alessio Milivojevic today, and here's the guy you can't wait to throw to, and did last year against Minnesota for 102 yards, including a 71-yard touchdown. Here's number 3, Rodney Bullard.
Just excitement. The team kind of rallied around me. It actually happened this morning as during the stretch lines, and they came out and let me know, and the team was just excited. We was all excited, and got back to work.
Is it kind of just a relief?
Yes, sir, definitely.
All this work is not for nothing, more or less?
Yes, sir, 100%.
Did you expect a decision today?
No, sir, I did not. I didn't know what was happening today. I was still expecting the court date on Thursday, and they happened to come and tell me today. So, the faster the better. I was happy.
What about the player reaction, all your teammates and what they did?
Yeah, they was happy. Actually, Kenny Soares, he knocked my helmet off in excitement, just slapping me. So it was pretty cool. Everybody was happy.
What made you stick with it and continue to go through this process? Because that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, really, the whole staff, compliance, my teammates, everyone kept rallying around me, and we felt like we had a pretty good case to keep going instead of just, giving up on it. So the whole supporting cast helped me and helped me get through it, so I didn't want to give up on them.
What was the toughest moment? Can you describe the relief in that when you heard that?
Just all the work from our last game till 11 days before our next one, the next season, just all the work, like I said, I put in with the guys and the staff and everything. Just happy that it's not for no reason, and I'm able to, go out and play with the guys.
What was the toughest moment you had through the whole process, and could you have imagined going right up to kickoff, waiting for a ruling?
Toughest moment probably, just the not knowing part, and, every day just having to go in and still work and do my job and perform at a high level, even when I don't know what's going on. But, if I had to go all the way up until kickoff, I would have, and I know the staff and my teammates were rallying around me with that. So, yeah, sir, that's how I feel.
You never had a day where you said, why bother?
Nah, I just kept going. I knew I had a great feeling that at some point it would come through. Like, none of us knew it would be this long, but, it's good now, so I'm happy that we don't have to worry about it anymore.
Have you spoken to your lawyer yet since you found out?
No, I'm kind of just coming off the field and came straight in here and everything.
Assuming no need to the court filing.
Yeah.
No need to go that route.
Yeah, no need to do that anymore. And
you talk to your parents?
Yeah, coach actually called my dad when they told me the news, so we kind of both found out at the same time. So he was pretty excited. I'm sure he done told my mom and everything. So, yeah, it was cool.
You said in the spring you wanted to be an athletic director. It's pretty good internship, experiential learning.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've still been kind of working through that too, the internship and everything, and being able to learn from different groups in the program, not knowing everything that goes on behind the scenes. And I've been working with that, and I actually have this one more class for the fall, and I'll graduate with my master's, so still working towards that goal as well.
Have you been told any specific reason why the NCAA changed their minds, or is this just they told you we changed our minds?
Yeah, no, like I said, it was kind of really quick. Like right before practice, they just told me that it was their minds changed and I was cleared, so I really didn't hear anything else. I was excited to get back out there.
So how long was this wait? Was it from January?
Yes. Yes, sir. I'm not sure like specific dates, but definitely from January all the way until now.
On the football side of it, Alessio said that you are a game changer. What makes this offense go this year?
Just everybody. We have a lot of new energy on this team, from the staff on all down, and just making sure we execute and everyone doing their job. Everyone does their job. Any offense can be explosive, so I think we got a lot of great pieces to be able to put it all together.
Dan Bartholomew was just introduced as AD last Wednesday. Does he know that you want to be AD someday?
I hope I get to talk to him about that. That'll be good, learning. That might be a good shout out for me, but I haven't really talked to him at all.
What are you getting your master's in?
Sports administration.
And when you say that NCAA changed their mind, did they indicate that had they ruled against your case or previously? Yeah,
so I know it was a lot of back and forth in deciding and appealing it, so I'm not too sure of all the details, but I know once they I wanted to keep fighting for it. So with the other avenue with getting the legal team, I was trying to fight any way I could to be able to make sure I could play and expedite the process.
So were you ever informed that you were ineligible?
Yes, I believe so. Early on, maybe in the summer, and then they reopened it. And then, it was just, I'm not sure specific dates, but I know it was a lot of kind of back and forth process.
Was there a feeling of, were you ever really concerned about it or depressed about it, or you just kept moving forward because you're confident?
The one thing that kind of kept me going is just nothing changed. So no matter what happened, I was still able to keep practicing every day. I was still able to, do everything that I would be doing if I was eligible. So as long as nothing was changed and I kept going, I was still motivated.
Was there a teammate, captain, or someone else who, when you felt low, you would go to or you would confide in?
Like I said, I wouldn't even necessarily pinpoint anyone. Like, everyone on the team checked on me every single day, asking, have I heard anything? And actually, the team they was ready to all pull up to the court and support me. So, everybody, it was literally everyone. So I can't pinpoint one person.
Was there a plan for if you weren't able to play? Like, would you have stayed here, finished, done the classes and everything? Like, was there a plan in place for what you would have done?
Yeah, I'm assuming since I only have, the one class, I would just, finish that, graduate, and see if they would allow me to still kind of intern and shadow around to start my athletic director career and everything. But, yeah, I kind of was focused on this. I wasn't even, worried about that part at the time.
Rodney, when your coaches throughout the thing, it seems like they kept giving you reps, kept making you involved in part of the plan moving forward, assuming this would come. Did that help when the coaches are like, you're still in this plan, even though we don't know if we'll really be able to use you? Whether it's reps, practice, structure, that type of stuff, does that keep you going, I guess?
Yes, sir, definitely, because, they was emphasizing that, they was with me the whole time. So, like, they didn't want to change anything and make me feel excluded or left out just because it was some unknown. So they were still, giving me a fair chance to compete and do everything as if everything was all good. So that definitely kept me pushing forward.
Feels like there's a little unknown with the wide receiver rooms. What do you like about that group right now as a whole, and what is standing out?
I think we just have a lot of great playmakers, and, it may seem unknown to the world, but we know we have in the room, and it's just a lot of great guys. A lot of guys know what they're doing. A lot of guys can play multiple positions, and we have a lot of guys that could do everything on the field. So we're excited to show what we have.
We know about you and Krishan from last year. Is there somebody else that we're going to know about real soon?
Every single one of them. I think it's going to be a lot of people that come in and, put their names on the map this year, just from all the work that we put in from spring to now. It's going to be a lot of guys that be able to help us.
Are you going to celebrate this? You got any plans or thought of anything?
I don't know, man. I know I'm about to get in the ice tub after this and, relax. But, I don't know, probably call my family and just talk to them. And, I don't have any – I got to get back to work tomorrow, practice again. So just gearing up for the season. That's my reward, I guess, being able to play. So
now that's Rodney Bullard, and he was a happy guy today, as you might imagine, having been told that his career was over after just 3 competitive seasons. Hard to imagine the NCAA approving guys for a 7th year, allowing guys who've been in pro football and pro basketball to come back. But for some reason, they didn't want Rodney Bullard in the Michigan State uniform, and it came to their senses today. Want to thank all of our guests, starting with MSU women's soccer coach Jeff Hostler. Spartans now ranked 4th in one poll, waiting the decision on the other. After a 3-2 win at North Carolina, the dominant program in NCAA soccer history. Great win for the Spartans yesterday. Also want to thank Gary Gillette. He is an author. He is an editor. He is a historian, sabermetrician, you name it, he does it in terms of professional baseball. Always great to have Gary with us talking about the Tigers and the rest of MLB. And you had a chance to hear from MSU coach Pat Fitzgerald, his weekly press conference, announcing the 6 captains for Michigan State. And you heard from 2 of them, linebacker Jordan Hall and quarterback Alessio Milivojevic, and reinstated wideout Rodney Bullard. We'll be back with you tomorrow, everyone. Have a great night.